Hey, that's not our logo.
It's very low key. No, it's not. A lot has changed. A lot has changed since that was made.
I was gonna say I was watching the title for it, and I was like, that's not even the name of our show anymore.
No. It's been 2 years, 3 years almost now.
3.
We've been doing this bullshit.
Yeah, 3.
Holy fuck, we should do something or talk about doing something and then not do it in true ASAP fashion.
Facts.
Speaking of which, I've got a solo interview with one of the guys, the founding members from Biohazard. That's going to be edited and contributed to the collective.
Biohazard Airsoft?
Yeah, the team that does a lot of stuff with KWA. Yes.
Nice. Got a couple guys trickling in chat. Ellis, baby, I miss you. How have you been? Evander, yeah, Texas weather is weird, but surprisingly that storm did like absolutely nothing. So interesting enough. But yeah, so before we jump into the main topic from last weekend, what's new with you guys? What do you guys got? Give me something juicy. Spit on me. It's a good sound effect. I need to clip that.
Carl, you go first.
I really got not much, to be honest with you. It's funny because like I started designing my brand and haven't done shit with it. So that's what I need to work on is like focus on pushing that again. Yeah,
that's what we do.
Yeah, start stuff. Don't actually like go full send onto it. Yeah, it is definitely the ASAP way.
Have wonderfully mediocre ideas and then do not follow through.
I don't know. I think some of our ideas are pretty rad.
It's true, but we don't follow through on those.
It's true. It's very true.
That's it, though.
I will be at the for the 7 people in here. I will be at the SS Airsoft 12-year anniversary event down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, cool.
I'll be down there from the 31st to the 4th.
Going down.
And I was supposed to go to the Milsim West Insurgency event, but the owner from SS was like, I'll pay for your fare and your hotel. And I was like, done. So
say less.
So now I get to sell stuff and make money. And that's,
Yeah. Well, it's a big exposure thing for you too. And network.
Yeah. And I mean, there's going to be some people there that I know. There's going to be a lot more people that I don't. The guy who did basically the guy that was based off of who did Ghost for Modern Warfare.
Riley, yeah.
Simon Riley, the character model for that guy, he's going to be there with Rex the dog. So some real life cosplay boys.
Ooh,
as well as I guess there's going to be a whole bunch of people there. So
well, that's pretty fucking dope.
You'd be repping your brand and just be like,
man, I'm gonna have my own booth. I'm trying to figure out how to like vacuum seal a whole shit ton of product to take with me. So we'll see how it goes.
You bougie bitch.
You know what, man? It's time for the bouge. It's here for the bouge.
It's time for the bouge. I've suffered long enough.
Yeah, man. Listen, this punk aesthetic can only last long enough.
And like, I'm all for being a starving artist, but at what point do I get to sell out?
Yeah, I'm, and nobody's allowing me to sell out, so I'm just gonna do it myself.
If you don't offer me the option to sell out, I'm gonna sell out to myself.
I'm gonna sell it to myself.
I'll show you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we were having this discussion at work today too. They're like, "Why aren't you working for the marketing or the communications department?" I was like, "I don't know. You should ask their fucking director." They're like, "Well, I mean, put your resume in." I was like, "Bitch, I make already more money doing my own thing now, so fuck off."
Hey, but if you did put your resume in, you'd be doing something that 90% of people don't. I know a guy who keeps putting in applications for engineering jobs when he has no engineering degree. And it's like,
or experience, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing
for effort.
Yeah. I don't have the degree. I just have a shit ton of experience, and I like
same.
For your equivalency, yeah. But engineering is kind of a different animal. Like you don't just.
Oh, for sure, you have to have the experience for that.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Or
Hey,
excuse me, the schooling, I should say.
Say what you don't need any experience for: freezing your fucking balls off at an airsoft event. Holy shit! Salsk was
Anyone
cold
can do it.
Friday night. I'm sorry, that transition just needed to happen.
No, it's perfect transition. Freezing your balls off, because the one I went to in Centerville, Washington, same. Fucking like 20 something degrees at night. It was fucking cold.
Dude, it got cold, as cold or colder than that Friday night.
I believe it.
It was probably the most miserable I've ever been out in an outdoor experience during that specific like 8-hour window of like midnight to like 6 a.m. It was brutal.
I mean, do you guys end up playing much, or do you just
No,
freeze your
it's,
ass off in a sleeping bag?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah. Okay.
Do
I
we
got
want
the patch
to?
started.
Do we just want to cover this thing start to finish, or how do we want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jump in.
let's
Yeah.
start-
Walk through
Okay.
the timeline. Yeah. Walk through the
Thursday
timeline
night?
Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so essentially, Josh has been hitting me up for a while to do cadre, and this event is about an hour and a half from my house, so there was no way I was going to say no to it. Going into it, really didn't know what to expect. Like, you hear stories about it being like an experience, right? That's exactly what it is. It's a totally different experience than anything else in like the airsoft Milsim world. You show up. We got there late Thursday night because we were at the cadre house, and I kind of wanted to meet people and kind of go over some stuff and figure out how exactly like this thing works. They got me set up on ATACs, which ATAC is like, it's insanely cool. It would be cooler if it was on iPhone too and everybody could use it. It's only an Android program right now, but it's like the future of like mapping and military gameplay type stuff. It's pretty incredible what you can do with it. So anyway, I get set up on that. We get up early Friday morning, eat breakfast, and then we do a cadre like recon for like the NATO guys. So we go out, we look at the entire field. This place where we're at is called Battle Springs Ranch. It's, what was it, 6,000 acres?
6 square miles.
6
So,
square miles.
close,
Okay.
yeah.
So this ranch is 6 miles.
Pretty
It's really cool. But there's a bunch of different sites there. Like, there was oil wells. The guy that owns it privately built like a shoot house out there that's three stories, 3 stories
wow.
tall.
It's got so like the tower of it is deceptive because it's like it's a self-contained like repelling thing. But the backside of it is like 4 Connex boxes deep and about 3 tall, and then there's a roof on top of the main section of Connex boxes and stairwells that go all the way up to the top of the tower part.
Yeah,
That's all.
You'll
accessible.
you'll see it in videos that are going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks. I've got a video that I'm working on, just kind of talking about my first Milsim West experience, and you'll see it. But it's just it's a huge shoot house. So anyway, we scout the locations, and then we go back and we start gearing up, getting ready. You start Friday night, which is, unique for an airsoft event because most of them, start late on Saturday. But this one starts late Friday night. Check-in started like around 2:00, and it goes until 8-ish because it takes so long. And then we stepped off at 9:00. You get like op orders just like you would, an operations order just like you would in the military. You pass that down to your guys. There was 4 platoons. Each platoon has their own mission.
Can we talk about the check-in process a little bit, because that was like kind of off the rip was the first
Yeah,
thing
it is. As somebody who's never
because-
done an MSW ban, I'm the only one in here that's never done
Yeah.
one. I would love to
Okay,
hear more about that.
so the check-in process is it's pretty much styled after like what you would do like in the military. So in the military, if you're going to a range or you're doing an FTX or doing anything, you do a layout. So you have a packing list full of items that you have to have. So you line up all your guys, they dump all their stuff onto a tarp, and you call it out, they hold it up, they pack it away. That's kind of how it works.
And then also on top of that, the factions check in separately.
Yes,
and each
and
platoon is checked in platoon by platoon by platoon. So it's not this mad. There's not this giant line of people filling out fucking forms and shit. There's not like like Corey and I were like, all right, so first thing we do is, I think it was fucking chrono, and then it's loadouts for items, And then it's, there's this list of things. And at the end, they have their packet that they started with that has to be signed off by Corey that says that they've done this, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this.
Yes.
And then that gets turned in at the end of the event or at the beginning or right?
No,
then,
beginning.
Or,
So here the difference between this and other events is like the cadre, the leadership position is a true leadership position. It really is. You are in charge of these guys. You are in charge of making sure they're playing fairly and not cheating the system or anything like that. You check them to make sure they didn't bring their own BBs because BBs are provided. You make sure they have all their red line items because if they don't, like if they didn't bring a sleeping bag, like I don't know how you ever would have made it through that first night. Just stuff like that. You just make sure they have it. And you get your guys through chrono. I can't remember all the stations. You had to layout, you had to chrono and eyewear. What was that?
BBs, because this event is you start with 500 BBs per person, and then you cannot get more BBs without being resupplied, which also goes through your chain of command structure.
Yeah.
Platoon
anyway, there's roughly like 5 or 6 things on this checklist that have to be checked off before you can play, and you're in charge of that as cadre, as the platoon sergeant. Right. So by the time all that gets done, the sun's starting to go down, and we have our mission already, and we're just waiting for game on. Game on was like 9:00, and we're rucking. I mean, I don't know what were our rucks, maybe 40 pounds, not super crazy, if even that.
Nothing insane, but we're also in reasonably decent shape, and the terrain was kind of difficult just because it's gravelly and kind of rocky. Hills and valleys and stuff.
Does the terrain, if it's 6 by 6 miles, does it change like a decent amount? Like, is there
pretty
some dense
drastically
areas and then, like, pretty open?
You got legs,
Oklahoma is like rolling hills, so there is some uphill and some downhill, but you're not like going up mountains or anything crazy. It's nothing super difficult.
It was a little our first nothing super challenging.
Yeah, our first ruck was maybe 600, 700 meters. It was not far at all. But we were the only ones that moved our rucks away from like where everybody else was going to be. So our platoon was like sent out on a flanking maneuver, totally separate from everybody else. And our platoon's like job was essentially to hold down like the east side of the lake, and everybody else was on the west side of the lake. And so we rucked up about halfway, or no, about to the start of like this lake, and we set our stuff by a place that was designated as a rail yard. It might have been a little bit further, maybe a half mile.
I think it's about a half mile, and we docked our shit.
And then we rocked about another, or we got rid of the rucks, and then you switched to like your assault packs, like your lightweight stuff, like what you would take to go out on a mission. So we swapped to that, and we start the first mission, which ours was essentially to hold down this like land bridge that goes between 2 lakes. And it was really close to the Russian patrol base, and they were fighting, heading like south along one side of the river, and NATO was trying to push north. So we're just trying to make sure they don't try to come around and flank. So we got stuck in a holding position for probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and the temperature is just dropping. Dude, like it's dropping. Like Cole and I are like laying on our stomachs for probably 2 hours, and you can just feel the ground temperature just tank.
Mind you, this one thing in the terrain that we haven't mentioned yet is there are millions. It's not like where you would think there's grass. There's bramble bushes, thorn bushes. These tiny.
That's what I was going to ask. Is like, what's the foliage? Of
like,
just like knee high bushes everywhere. Basically, is there any trees?
Yeah.
Like
a lot of dead trees.
There was trees, there's bushes, there's thorn bushes, there's grass, tall grass. Okay. Yeah, and there's trails. There's a lot of trails. This place is really well set up for this. So anyway, the fighting doesn't start for probably 2.5 hours at least. And I assume that's because they were setting up a patrol base, they were getting the platoons ready to move forward, and our guys were in place like early.
Yeah,
we moved pretty quick.
Us moving to contact too, because it's one of those things where we'd laid there for like 2.5, 3 hours, and it's like, this is fun. We're freezing our nuts off. And then you can hear, or no, it was before that. But so like even before that, Corey's finally like, man, fuck this, guys are getting antsy. Let's like make sure, because the big part of being cadre at these events is making sure that people enjoy the event. Like it's kind of you're being paid to be there, so you're invested in making sure that they have a good time. So he's like, fuck it, let's send 2-1 out and let them fucking move to contact, and we'll follow shortly after and just kind of do a little bit of recon.
Yeah, well, we sent them deeper in. They weren't really told us to move to contact. We sent them deeper in to kind of scout ahead, because you could tell these guys were a little bit more squared away. They had night vision, they had gear, they communicated well. So
we probably should have started with like we had like the three main. We had the perfect like microcosm of airsofters minus speedsofters at this event. We had 2-1, which was like super hardcore, squared away like Milsimmers. They're good kids. Fucking were cracking me up the entire event. But like supermoto, like they wanted to be there, wanted to play, they wanted to do cool guy shit.
That's cool.
Second squad was a little bit of a more like in between. Like they were the kids that you could tell had probably been to like a Milsim West or some of the more casual airsoft events. And then the third were like rental kids and a dad. Yeah. And you'll be very surprised to find out.
Yeah, you'll be surprised how this story ends. Yeah,
the story ends.
So anyway, we send the moto guys up ahead. We send them up ahead, and they're calling out like where they're seeing movement and stuff. They have night vision. Well, we start hearing contact, like massive firefight between much three. Yeah,
that full auto fire,
airsoft guns. Yeah, and I mean it's loud, it's awesome. And it's pretty much 3 platoons on 4 platoons of like Russian guys, because we're off to the side. Well, once we hear them engage, I start sending messages up the chain of command, and they're like, all right, go get in it. So we're about 3.5 hours in. We start trying to move on their flank across this field, but they outnumber us like so heavily, like they're just waiting on us.
We didn't know that they did first. Like this is one of the things is Russ 4 started with a little bit more guys, like not a huge difference between Russ 4 militia and NATO. But so like here's their position is like we're coming down this road, and at the end of the road is a fork where like NATO's here and Russ 4's here, and they're like kind of meeting at a head. And so we think we're going to make an envelopment movement and get behind them. And we do, and we're pulling it off like really well. And the supermoto guys have gone hard right, and like we're like pushing in. And then about 3 full fucking platoons came up our ass cheeks out of the darkness. Like I knew immediately it was bad shit when I turned around and saw white light, like 20, constantly. 30 flashlight, like gun.
Oh,
like,
so many.
Like, they didn't give a fuck that they were about. Yeah, they just like they wanted us to know, and they're like chanting and shit in Russian.
Yeah, they're yelling. They're yelling at us in
Russian,
dude.
MSW.
I'm like, oh, this is actually, and then this, like I said, I think I don't know if it's a full auto AK or PKM, but it's loud, and it's just just fucking like split in the silence of the night. And we're like, fuck, Jesus Christ!
I got called a capitalist a lot.
Yeah,
So anyway, we get wrecked, right? We get absolutely wrecked, and I think how many of us are like we went in there with 22 and we left with like 5. It was like me and Cole and 3 or 4 guys from 2-1. We were able to bound back and get out of there.
With nods made.
Yeah. So we go back. We kind of fall back to the position we were before, further back. And the whole idea was to maybe they would follow us in, and maybe we could do a quick ambush and do something. But it just never happened. So we ended up going.
And this is the first like super cinematic thing that happened, because there was another one on day 2 that we're going to talk about that was like probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a fucking airsoft game.
So in MSW, when you have that many guys go down, do they also just ghost as well, like other airsoft games, or like how does that work?
No.
There's the
no.
Do you want to explain the medic rules a little bit? Because
my question is like, how do you rejoin up? Like, say 3/4 of your platoon goes down, right? Like, how do you end up refinding them?
So here's how the medic rules work, and essentially you kind of in MSW it's different because you 100% stick together. Nobody does their own thing.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's so big, you could seriously get lost out there.
Yeah. No, it happened, but anyway. So we fall back and we go back to the rail yard. We end up going all the way back to the rail yard, and everybody's there minus one dude, and we're essentially told, hey, if something happens, react to it. But if not, go crash for the night, like go set up your area. And they said we had 2 options. We could stay out in the field where we were by ourselves, or we could go back to the CP with all the other platoons. Well, I didn't want to go all the way back, one, because it was like 1.5 miles away and our guys were just like toast. So we fell back probably 400 meters from where we were into the wood line where we had pretty good cover. Got off the main trail. And, I set up a roaming guard that would rotate every hour, and everybody like racked out for the night, minus our one missing dude. the Russians were kind enough, like right after we went to sleep, to return our guy by ambushing us. They had captured him and they ambushed us. And unfortunately, 2-1 was up for whatever reason. They were up. And
Those
they
motherfuckers were not messing around.
They flanked those guys so fast and just absolutely obliterated that Russian squad. Just wiped them off the face of the earth quick.
Well, they fucked on them so fast that they fucked on them and then fucking shredded Corey and me when we came out.
Yes,
of the
they
wood
also
line
shot me in the face a bunch of times. But you know what? But you know, there was no communication because people came out of their sleeping bags to do this fight. Like, like I just taken my boots off, so I didn't even put anything on. I just grabbed my gun and my boots and I ran. So Cole and I got lit up by our guys, but we ended up getting them taken care of, and we got our entire group back together, and then we ended up racking out for the night. Well, the temperature drops even more. It goes from probably 30 degrees. Somebody said that they had it recorded at like 14 with the wind and everything is what it felt like.
Feels like 14 is what my phone said.
Yeah. My forecast said 40 degrees, so I had a sleeping bag for 40 degrees. I didn't have a sleeping bag for the teens. So it's like I'm in between, like Cole and I talked about this. We were in between these two phases of like, man, it's cold. Let's zip this bivy sack up all the way to Russian ambush squad survived without any casualties. That's not true.
He's right. I don't remember any dead ones. I think they just ran like a bunch of bitches.
Oh, did they?
No,
because they were searching people. 2-1 was searching people.
Oh, you're right. No, they did search like 3 fucking guys, didn't they?
Yeah.
The train.
Yeah, they were in the trees. Like they came down the road and they
Russian
were in the
false
trees.
Information is in the chat.
Yeah, is. Yeah. It's what do they call that? False flag operation?
This is another thing I really like about the MSW is like the shit talk and like the
I love
interaction between factions is so fucking on point.
Oh, I bet it's great.
Anyway,
yeah.
I probably have no clue what happened because I didn't have nods and I was super tired. So I'm going to say we killed them all. That might be a lie. But anyway, so the temperature drops again, and it's by the time I think I was about to go to sleep, it was like 5 o'clock because I'm suffocating in my bivy sack every 5 minutes. So I open it up and then I get cold 5 minutes later and I zip it back up. So I'm like, I'm slowly killing myself. And it's like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm finally tired enough to almost like get through all the pain and just go to sleep. And somebody shakes my sleeping bag and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like this is my first event. I guarantee it's a Russian dude and he's going to say you're dead. And he got a sleeping bag kill. No, it's a guy quitting. And he goes, hey man, I got 2 guys that need to go. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I was like, are you quitting? And he's like, yeah, man, they're quitting. And I said, why? And he's like, well, they're shivering. And I'm like, dude, I'm shivering now that you've got me out of my sleeping bag. Like I'm shivering too. I'm not quitting.
Because mind you, we this camp we'd set up was like not far off from the lake. So we're like water level. And it wasn't like position wise, it was probably a good spot. We didn't think about the temperature drop and all that fun shit. Yeah, because he's right. Because like I got the outdoor research bivy, and that thing when you sealed it totally, I'd wake up and just be like I hypoxic. I couldn't fucking breathe, and I'd open it and then just
so much air is gone.
Yeah, and then I just freeze my fucking balls off. So I was like, oh, I can freeze or I can suffocate. There is no in between. What a wonderful.
So like when you had it fully zipped up, do you guys feel like you were warm enough or
no? Fuck no. Even then I was cold, but I was cold and I couldn't breathe. So it was either I could be super cold or I could be kind of cold and still not able to breathe. Long story short, I'm getting a better fucking sleeping bag. I thought I bought a good one. I bought like a Nomad that was like
well, I've got one that goes down into the teens that would have been better. It's a 3-piece system and I only brought 2 of them.
I'm buying Sub-Zero fucking bags.
Yeah. I mean that's
just gonna sweat.
Like honestly, I don't care if it's like extra weight or size. Like in a game like that, I wouldn't care. Yeah,
like dude, it's fucking rough.
It's all about comforts at that point.
Yeah, so those guys came in, and like I said, this is the funny thing. Again, this was fun because like it wasn't fun at the time. I was super fucking salty at the time when they did this fucking attack because I had like gotten my bivy set up, and we are decently tired. Like we've been going after it for a bit, and I'd like just gotten my boots off, taken my kit off, like set it next to the tree, and like right as I'm going to put, like literally my feet hit my sleeping bag, and I hear divide, like fucking like fucking BBs flying everywhere. I was like, son of a god.
damn it.
I don't think
They-
I stopped throwing
Nine
expletives.
times out of 10, they're in there waiting for you just to get comfortable.
Just to
and
get
then they fuck
comfortable,
with
and
you.
then they'll do it. Yeah.
So but it's like I'm
it's
fucking
fucked.
flat on my sleep and be like, you fucking cock. I'm like not even trying to be quiet. Like I want them to know I'm coming out of the tree line. I'm like, you cock sucking commie pink dick having fucks. I swear to fucking God. And I'm like just screaming shit coming out of the tree. Stepping on fucking branches. I'm breaking shit. I'm fucking like hitting trees for no goddamn reason.
There's
And I
probably
come
some
out-
of them in nods just watching your dumbass,
Dude,
just
no,
loving
like
it.
2-1 was like actively engaging them. The problem was 2-1 had done like a fucking envelopment and like was now coming back towards us, and I didn't know this. Like I come around the tree and I get behind this berm and I pop up and I put eyes on, and but like I stop because I actually checked my fucking targets because we'd already been team killed twice that night by the younger squad. While I was,
I will say
pissing,
my first kill of a Milsim West event was
a guy trying to kill me while I pissed.
guy trying to kill me that was on my own team.
So, but I
Nice.
pop up behind this bush and I just I'm about to laze fucking 2-1 actual, like their squad leader in the side of the fucking head. And I go, I drive out and I'm like, finger off trigger. I'm like, I start to put it down. I'm like, hey, and he turns and just fries my ass. I'm like, fuck. And I'm laying there and like, I'm like, ow. Like doing the whole dead thing. And no, because but I was like, I swear to God, if that's Tan. And I hear, is that your platoon leader? I was like, you piece of shit. Get over here and medic me right fucking now.
Sorry,
Nice.
I just step out and get my Uber Eats. Where did we leave off at?
You were leaving it off at anyway. So like ambush happened. We got the kid that was lost back.
Yes.
And then we froze our fucking balls off, and 3 kids quit at 4 a.m.
Now I can't hear Corey.
You muted your shit, or you hit something, Corey. I swear to God.
I bet you he hit,
nothing.
I bet you he hit it on the side. Check the side of your mic.
Every time.
Wait, now I'm
There
back.
it goes.
There you go.
No, my browser keeps shutting down my mic. I don't know why. No.
Remember
So
when you
anyway,
guys
like
said
the-
my mic was bad. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Go ahead.
shut up. Look at it changing colors. So dumb. No. So anyway, the guy said, I have 2 guys that need to go. And I said, okay, well, I'll call admin and have him come pick up your 2 guys. He goes, well, I'm the ride, so I should probably go too. I'm like, okay. And all 3 of these kids had rented nods, like $250 a pop.
Oof.
No
yeah,
refunds.
and didn't even make it through half
Wait,
of the first
Yeah, I
night.
don't know what to say. And then quit early, bro.
Yeah.
Now,
dude.
mind you, this was pretty fucking miserable. Like,
I mean,
and
I get that.
we
So,
checked
yeah.
these kids' shit. We like when they were in check-in, and I remember very specifically being like, they're like, well, we don't have, their cold weather gear wasn't jackets. I was like, you guys got thermals and shit? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, show them to me. And they showed them to me. I was like, all right, so you got thermals. I was like, and you guys have an overlayer, right? And it was like a little thinner than I would have liked, but I was like, well, you got thermals and you got a good sleeping bag. You should be okay.
I didn't wear any base layers and I was fine.
No, yeah. And I survived, but it sucked. It did suck.
Was that like these kids like first game or like second game?
Yes.
or-
Yeah.
Is the first
Yeah,
game?
I don't know if it was their first game, but I know they had decent gear and they seemed to be experienced. Like they weren't like rental kids. This wasn't their first.
They were
So
like
maybe their
It might
first
have been their-
game in Cole.
It might have been their first Milsim West. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know.
This event was
Yeah.
largely first time Milsim West.
Yeah, like 70%, I think is what they said on
Interesting.
NATO. Yeah,
Yeah.
70% new people. So anyway, we lose. So we lose the majority of a squad like night 1. We wake up the next morning and we pack up and we pull our rucks back to where we started the day, right? Isn't that where we dropped them at, or did we go all the way to Shoot House?
We hold on. We walked. Like when we got up, we repacked all of our shit and we rucked all the way up to check-in station.
And then
Because-
from there we went to the
And
Shoot
then
House.
from there, we dropped for like a couple minutes and then we rucked to shoot
Yeah.
house.
So it was about a mile away, I think, probably. That ruck was probably about a mile ruck,
Yeah.
roughly. So we got set up on thank you. So we got set up on the Shoot House, and then we started getting our mission for the day, which was essentially another like big flanking maneuver. And this time,
They like sending us to our deaths.
Yeah, they wanted us to go and hit like their main patrol base, which they had moved forward. I think a little ways, and they were getting real close to ours, or we had pulled ours back to the shoot house, and they had occupied our old one. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So we came up with a plan to essentially just kind of harass them throughout the day and try and wear them out, knowing that they were going to hit us at night and do some other things. So we did a really big flanking maneuver, and it actually we pulled it off. We didn't win, just sheer numbers. With the Rust 4 versus NATO, there was no way we were ever going to win it, but the idea was to split the force that was moving to attack our main force and just get them sidetracked and wear them out. So as we like sneak around to get on their flank, we can see them up on a hill, and it looks like maybe 10 guys up there.
So it starts.
And we think it's their command structure just hanging back, and all their other guys are out doing whatever. And so like we're sitting there, we're calling it up. I mark it using the ATAC thing. I'm like, hey, we're looking at them right now. What do you want us to do? And they told us to essentially wait until they engage. I think Jet's platoon, 4th platoon, was moving up to engage them. Well, like right before Jet's platoon gets there to engage, like they start moving their patrol base, and we see like 150 dudes just come out of the weeds and rucks and
like
start.
This it looks like a line of ants going over the top of this hill, and it's like 10, 15, 20, 30, 50. Holy fuck.
like literally half their team. Yeah.
No, their entire team.
Or-
You
oh, wow.
Their whole fucking team. Like I'm just staring at it like this looks like a real. This is fucking.
Was
wow,
this
is a
was
real
this
military.
was this day 2?
No. Oh,
So-
Yeah, Saturday.
So from the event that I was at too, I was on the militia squad.
Mhm.
And on the second day we linked up. We had a one spot, and then we met to a second spot.
Yeah.
And then halfway through that day we rocked and met up with the rest of the Russian
This was we
team.
caught them right as they were rucking their
Yep.
entire team.
There's
out of
usually
the
a
shit.
huge, at least
it's-
like from what you were saying, there's like it sounds like there's usually a huge Russian movement
Yes.
on the back end. Yeah.
So it was their whole and to give you some context, like the spot that we're at, because there are pins on this property, like gated, pinned off areas. The only people that could get through the gates was cadre. So these guys could see us, and we didn't find out until later that like they can only see Corey and me because fucking 2-1, 2-2, or what's left of 2-2 and 2-3 had done a really good job of like staying hidden. But so we see this just caterpillar line of just like more airsofters rucking than I've seen in an event ever at one time. And I'm like, Corey, we got to hit them now. I was like, dude, they're fucking heavy. They're wearing the rucks. Like, I don't care how good of airsofters kids can be. They've got a 40-pound ruck on. Like, if we hit them quick enough, they're gonna fucking fail to react to contact. And so always you hit up Avery in the command net.
Yeah, I went to call it up, and as I'm sending it up, like we start hearing gunfire in the distance, and it's 4th platoon hitting them on the front end. So I'm like, all right, we're going now. So we go in we sprint and we sprint to the gate, and I'm looking up this hill as like all these people are looking at us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like trying to remember the code. And I get it open, and like our guys actually did a really good job. They fanned out in a straight line. On the back half of it, it kind of fell apart just because we didn't have experienced dudes, but we pushed up this hill in a line. And what we should have done is once we had that hard line up on that berm, is the guys that were kind of back behind should have peeled off and flanked the other direction. And I think we could have almost won that firefight if they would have done that. But before I could get to them and start, like, I was going to start yanking bodies and say, hey, let's go. I got shot. But yeah, as we crested the hill, like guys start coming over the berm, and we're holding our own. Like we're taking guys out, and then all of a sudden I see this Goliath carrying a PKM known as Airsoft Alphonse freaking coming over the berm, dude. I didn't even know he was at the event, and you just start hearing that thing rip, and guys just start going down one by one.
Right, because like when we're going up this line initially, we're like go, and Corey looks, and like the guys are like kind of half-assed, and he's like, get the fuck up that hill, and I start sprinting through them like fucking Infinity War, like Cap and fucking Black Panther running. I'm like, move, you dipshits, go. I'm like yelling at him and shit, and we go up fucking ripping up the hill, and I shoot like one guy, shoot another guy, and then I turn and I don't even see him. I just hear this, and I'm like, ow, fuck.
Yeah.
I just like
Dude,
fucking beefed. Well, we ran into, of course, the rear guard is fucking mayhem.
Yeah.
Task Force. It was people watching this. You probably know mayhem. These motherfuckers know how to play. They're they've all got like they know what the fuck they're doing, and they once we got the initial like kind of couple kills in, like 5 or 10 of them, they turned around and zapped us like a fucking fly swatter. Like it was bad.
Yeah. So we held our own. I mean, we're an unexperienced crew of 19, and we pulled off a flank. I was proud of my guys.
Uphill.
We got kudos from Warren and the crew. Apparently, it was all on drone footage too.
Nice.
Which I hope we get to see.
What time of day was this again? Like when this happened?
Well, probably what, 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon?
Noon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe a
noonish.
little later. Maybe, yeah.
Because we got up pretty late. I think we didn't get moving until 9 o'clock, and then we had to go all the way back to the shoot house.
I'd argue this is probably 2 or 1.
Anyway, it's
I don't know.
midday though. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
very visible.
I lost track of time pretty quick. So anyway, we go and we walk back, and we essentially start getting intel that there's going to be a mass Russian push like later in the evening.
There's a lot of downtime in between that too. So like we're like we march back, everybody's eating, everybody's like using their jet boils and shit, and fucking like sitting around getting a tan for like a couple hours.
Yeah, we were down for probably 5 hours.
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we start getting intel that they're going to push like essentially a platoon. It was supposed to be a platoon. It ended up being a galding battalion. It was all of Russia emptied out.
The whole team.
Yeah.
Fucked us.
Yeah. So anyway, like they all have to come through one gate. And so we have machine gun nests. We have everything just pointed at this gate. And unfortunately I switched out to nods. I finally got a pair of nods and I didn't record it because it had to have been hilarious. It was literally a zombie apocalypse rush with everybody just pouring all the ammo they had into it. And by sheer numbers, again, we ended up getting just annihilated. But dude, the initial push was hilarious because there was just bodies stacking right inside this fence. And Cole and I were right at the front of it on a machine gun nest, kind of supporting that guy. And yeah, you see them, they're coming down the hill and they're walking. And when they get about 50 yards out, it just turns into a dead sprint of about 150 bodies.
We ripped. I emptied up 4 mags in about 45 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I was on my last mag within a minute.
What were you guys using at the game, by the way? Which guns? You guys haven't talked about like which guns you guys were using.
I had my Fatco, and he was using his PTW.
Got it.
So
yeah,
this is what I was talking about. Where something like this is the most cinematic thing I've ever seen in airsoft. Because like to give you a little bit of build up here. It's story time.
Ooh, nice.
Like so you've got the gate is like right in front of us, and there's this large berm, just like almost directly positioned in front of the gate, and we're standing on it, like looking all cinematic and shit. And you start seeing these black dots because the sun's setting behind them. So you start seeing these black dots about a quarter mile in the distance, like 1, 2, and all of a sudden there's like 20, 30, 50, 100, 150. Like their whole, it looks like the fucking last charge of the Rohirrim. Like these motherfuckers just like come up with the sun setting behind them, and all you can see these black shapes, and there's just a fucking shit ton of them making this line, and you just hear like, and you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then once again, this, I swear to God, I want to know who this kid was, because that kid with this full auto fucking AK is, and it's, I don't know what muzzle device he had on it, but it was the meanest sounding fucking gun I've ever heard in my life.
I've got video of it.
Because you just hear, just in the distance, just crack, 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 and they just, and they all start fucking running through, and like then like some are fanning out and like trying to shoot through the fence, but they're just pouring through this gate, and Corey and I are like over the top, fucking leaning under, over the top, leaning under, like just fucking right. And then finally gets to a point where like everyone else in the berm is dead but me, and I'm like switching mags, and I go to transition, and this dude comes over, and I go over the top, and I shoot him, and I shoot his buddy, and I duck down again, and I like have to change my mags out again, so I go to fucking switch, and I come up and I fall on my ass, and these dudes like fucking World War Z come pouring over the top of this fucking berm. So I'm on my ass, just like transitioning one to the other, and these guys come around both sides and just fucking drill my ass in like both sides of the fucking head. I'm like, fucking Christ. And I'm laying there, and like, well, I think Warren thought I was hurt, because I mean I got LMG fucking PKM like HPA like from like 10 feet away, like drilled into my fucking temple. Like I got fucked up. And like I didn't realize I've got a couple marks here. Like I guess I was bleeding down the side of my face. And so I'm laying there just like staring up, and Warren's like, kind of walks over and he like kind of gives me like a walk by check, and he's like, "Good shit, dude." And he just like keeps walking. And then this kid's searching me. He's like, "God, you think got any BBs? Got any this or that?" I was like, "No, man, I just got a massive fucking headache and like kind of got a boner right now. So I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time."
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I like, kind of off topic, I want to mention is just like everyone was super fucking cool at the event. Like for all the fuck yous and for all the shit talk, when people got to you,
Everybody was chill.
most
Yeah.
flight
And
airsofters I've met.
Wholesome
Everybody
boys.
was super fucking
Wholesome
nice.
boys.
But yeah, so that was the third time now that we got our fucking shit ran, and it's not the last.
No,
Nice.
no, there's a pattern. No, so we end up falling back to the shoot house, right? Everybody falls back to the shoot house. We get absolutely annihilated in less than 5 minutes.
Well, was it here
there
that
was-
we realized the team number difference, like that we actually?
I think that was apparent
shit.
throughout the event. I think
Was it
well,
like
I
a 2-to-1 ratio? Like
Oh,
how
at least.
how many
At
guys
least.
really?
at
Holy
least
cow.
I don't know what their attrition rate was, but on our side, we probably lost 20 guys to it, like at least. I think
Per-
to
like, per
just
day.
quitting.
Day one. Day
So
two.
how many did you guys have
probably
total,
20
do you
total.
think?
Well,
Huh?
because
How many?
Well,
guys
I
you
lost
got total?
5. I think another one lost 6. Somebody else might have.
10 or 12.
Oh, I don't know how many. I don't remember asking Jet. But
he ended up
it
with
was-
the smallest squad by the end of it.
yeah, some of us started with platoons and ended with a fire team. So yeah, it got bad, man. But
Yeah, 50
No,
to
we-
150 is about almost.
Yeah,
what I would
I
Oh
would say it
my
was
god.
I would say it was 2-to-1, maybe a little bit worse than that, is what it felt like. I mean, it may not have been, but you also have to keep in mind that on that team you have a lot of experienced dudes, and
Oh, yeah.
NATO was 70% new guys.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their cadre. So this is one of the funniest things is like Avery, like when we're doing the pre-mission briefing, he's like, "All right, how many of y'all are new?" And almost everyone on NATO raised their hand, and he just goes, "We're gonna fucking die." Like he was absolutely correct, because it was after that push when, like I said, they just like World War Z just poured bodies on the fucking fire. We got back and I was like, because like I didn't realize until we got back to the shoot house that like our whole fucking team was out at that fucking defensive position. Like
Yeah.
everyone was there trying to hold that shit down. I
Ben
didn't
says he was
realize-
told it was 50 to 150 on the second day.
That's what it felt like. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
quite that big of a difference, but that's what it fucking felt like.
Yeah. So anyway, we get wrecked. We fall back to the shoot house, and then it kind of lulls for a while. So people go out and do their own things that night. R21 went and snuck into the Russian PB while we got wrecked up on the hill and just messed with them for a little bit, and then came back. And then as we're getting ready to rack out again, like right as we're about to fall asleep, we start hearing these pinging noises up on the roof where we're sleeping, and all these
Well,
grenades start going off.
We decided we wanted to sleep under the stars and be like cool guys. So like we're on the roof section of the of the shoot house.
We
which
slept
was-
outside. Everybody else slept inside.
It was pretty fucking cool, but like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know you don't want to sleep inside of a uninsulated metal box. It will be colder inside than it probably is outside. But this is one of my other favorite memories of the event is we're laying down and I wake up because I hear like a bunch of gravel and shit kicking around. And I start hearing voices and it's like midnight. And I'm like, oh fuck, don't tell me. And I sit up out of my sleeping bag and just see and a tagging like hits the fucking Connex above us and just explodes. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. I like shake Corey. And like another one goes, what? And these are not hitting like within range to kill us. They're fucking close, but they're not quite like within range to kill us. So like I shake Corey and he's like, fuck you. I was like, dude, come on. And these guys are, and everyone else is panicking, like, get the fuck inside. What are you idiots doing? We're standing up. I'm like, I like fucking grab my gun. I like grab my chest rig. I'm like, yeah. Meanwhile, tagging lounge is just like fucking yeeting over our heads. And we're just like slowly walking to the door, like, I don't fucking care anymore.
And it was like a recon is what they're doing. They were just messing with us, honestly, to keep us awake. And then that went on for probably 30 minutes, and then they backed off.
That was it for the night.
Yeah, and then everybody got some good sleep. Everybody tried to get good sleep that night. I still think I slept maybe an hour and a half, but we get up the next morning. This is the last day, and so there's like a big push coming. So we have this foolproof plan, that is going to allow us to defeat these 3-to-1 odds. Where we're going to go, instead of like everybody just hanging outside the building and just like Alamoing it, we decide we're going to leave a small group of people inside the building and we're going to push out and then fall back. So we have this plan where we're like second that are going to get hit, and we're on the left flank. Jet's platoon is further up ahead, and then we have third platoon on the right flank, and then we're supposed to have, I think, part of first or something behind us. Like we're supposed to have somebody covering our rear flank. Well, they start coming in, and it's working. Like they're trying to come around, like they're trying to flank. So that I think they actually ended up hitting us first. It seemed like I don't remember there being a whole lot of contact.
They were initially going like up the main road to our right, and our flank was like in perfect position. And then this random fucking goddamn squad took the bunny trail like right to us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were lighting them up though, and we were doing good. I mean, we were killing 2 or 3 guys, and then we'd bound back, and we'd kill 2 or 3 guys, and we'd bound back. And I mean, we were at 100%. We hadn't lost anybody, and we fall back to this hay bale, and the squad that was supposed to have our back from a different platoon just ghosted and ran into the building, and there was no communication. So we're sitting there fighting forward, and one dude gets behind us from the other team. One dude gets behind us and just wipes us. Because we're all kind of stacked. We kind of got bunched up behind a hay bale. Yeah, there really wasn't any other cover anywhere.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean, they're big hay bales. It's not like we were like idiot, like just like all behind one, but he smokes us all pretty quick. And that was kind of the end of it for us. The Russians took the building in probably 30 minutes, I think.
10 or 15.
Our least experienced guys were inside the house. I mean, it is what it is. It's a numbers game when it comes to something like that, when you're just like Zerg rushing. So they were always going to win, but it was awesome, dude. Even when you're getting clapped at Milsim West, like you're having a good time because everybody's into it. There's no dead rags. You just act out your death. They come, they literally roll you around and search you, dude. But everybody's
didn't
cool.
get overshot a single fucking time.
Yeah,
didn't get reshot after I was dead a single fucking time.
I did. I got shot. That happened to me twice. But I mean, again, you don't have a dead rag, and if you do a good enough job of acting, which Cole's a better actor than I am of being dead, they won't shoot you. But maybe I just wasn't good enough at it. But
we got hit.
It was awesome
on that top hay bale. I like ragdolled and fell into the second one and just laid there.
Yeah, no, but I'm like I've never been beaten so badly at an event, but it's the best time I've had at an event. It is.
It felt like you were actually defying odds. Like it wasn't like a normal airsoft game where we're outnumbered and it's just a wash. This felt like we were actually putting up a fight against a superior force, and like we were attempting to hold our own. Nice. And it was fun. It just felt cool. Like I really enjoyed it.
That was one thing that I really took away from my experience was like through all like how cold it was, just the shit you deal with. Like at the same time, I remember saying out loud, I was like, man, this sucks right now. But I know that when we're done, I'm going to want to go right back.
I told Corey, I was like, after night 1, we woke up, I was like, I'm really because it warmed up like immediately, like 7 o'clock. I was like, I'm really fucking mad about how much I want to talk about how bad last night sucked balls. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the magic of Milsim West, apparently.
Yeah.
How do we relax? So the blank fire is one curmudgeon I have with the game, and it's not from the blank fire is awesome. It adds a really cool aesthetic. I really like it. I really think it absolutely holds a place, and I want to see more of it. I do think that it does kind of suck for the kids. Like we had a kid in 2-1 that was using blank fire, and you can't call your hit. It's a blank fire round, but at one point he popped up during that initial push up the hill, that flank we were talking about. He popped up at like a fucking ghost out of the reeds, and had a whole line of like 10 guys, and he's about 50 feet from them, and he just, because you have to like aim above, he can't like actually aim, maybe just and according to the rules, he had them dead to fucking rights. They should have called that like a hit and played dead, and they just turned around and fried him. And it was like, man, like I don't think I saw a single person. I called a hit from a blank fire. I don't think I saw a single fucking person do it for that kid, and it just felt kind of shitty. He didn't seem to mind, but I was like, man, that kind of sucks. Like that was a really good move. If you'd have had an airsoft gun, you would have fucking just zilched that entire squad.
Yeah, I guess you kind of know what you're signing up for.
But fuck, they're cool, man. Holy shit! Like I keep talking about that kid with the AK or whatever the fuck that thing was, but damn, And I like the rule of react to blank fire. Like the blank fire goes off, you take cover, you take positions, you do shit. You don't necessarily need to call like it as a hit unless you really like they had you dead to fucking rights.
Usually, if you're looking in the direction and you can see like just the ball instead of like the point, if it looks like it's coming right at you, just call it.
I mean, this was like just outside of the legal limit for him to use blank fire on somebody. Like he had it fucking spaced out perfectly.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a fucking really small complaint.
So there's an MED for blanks then? Like
it's 20 feet in front of you and 20 feet at 180 degrees on any side. So essentially like a fan from here forward of 20 feet.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
And yes, no, you're right. It is way more fun to get beat at Milsim West than it is at any other game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone was having a good time. Like everyone was having fun, both sides.
Yeah, the blank fire is cool. I don't think I would ever do it just because I like being able to shoot BBs at people. But it adds a dimension to the game that's it's kind of cool. It really is. It's cool. Like they're loud, they get you thinking. So it was a cool aspect of the game. But anyway, the game ends right after they take the building, and then Josh pulls everybody in, and they do a like an after action review where it's essentially like a critique. Like he allows everybody to make suggestions and stuff like that because he wants to know how the game was. And some people have good questions, some people have questions that are not good, and or recommendations. Yeah, but overall, dude, it was a blast. It was incredible. I'd been kind of nervous about doing one just because I haven't stepped off into that community, and it is a different community for sure. But overall, the experience, even as a cadre, it's kind of drinking from the fire hose, but you fall back into like your old military ways if you've done it. It's run just like an FTX. That's what it is. Like in the Army, if you were to go training for a week in the field, you would pack like this, you would act like this, you'd go do missions like that, where you may sit around for 2 days and do absolutely nothing.
Right.
And then they might spin you up, like you're going to go do something and then cancel it and then spin you up and cancel it. And then it always ends up like you do like one cool big mission. This, it is a lot more active than a regular FTX. Like you do get into more stuff, but if you're a speed QB guy and that's all you like, you're not going to like it. If you're an airsoft guy and that's all you like, you're not going to like it. But if you're looking for an experience, kind of like what I put in my post today, like if you're looking for something that's going to challenge you more than just a pickup airsoft game, like try it. Because
if
it's
you
awesome.
dig foreplay, you're going to enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's the buildup, man. Like that was honestly like the setting, the aesthetic, the buildup, the immersion, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
It made the game. Like I said, we just listed off probably only 4 firefights that we went into the entire 3-day event, and I'm not mad about it because they were all absolute gangbuster fucking experience.
And it was kind of like what we'd kind of compared it to that last push that everybody really enjoys, like right at the end of an AMS game, where everybody just like doesn't care anymore and everybody does it. It's like that level of like adrenaline, but it's like 4 to 5 times, and it actually matters as far as the game goes. So it's like, yeah, did we walk an hour and a half to get in position for that flank that lasted 10 minutes? Yes, but that flank was epic. The fight was epic.
I think a big part of that is the like I said, talking about the build up, but like the lead up and the risk involved. Like you spent time and effort to get to this point for this firefight. And when you're there, it's very important that you don't just run like an idiot and get your shit clapped, or that you attack with fucking overwhelming force as quickly as you can and catch the enemy like off guard. Like there's so much time in between movements, and like, I think that really fucking built it up extremely well. And I love the BB attrition rate. I love the fact that like you start off with 500 BBs and you do not get more unless your platoon leader your platoon sergeant asks for a resupply. And even they're distributed like case by case a lot of the time. You're not just like, you just don't always have ammo. Like you have to really think about, oh fuck, like, do I want to engage now? Like there was one point where Friday night 2-1 came back and like, yo, there's a whole fucking platoon just like standing like 500 yards that way. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They're just chilling there. And it was probably the fact that like, they just come from that engagement, hadn't been resupplied yet, and they didn't know how many of us there were, and so they didn't want to try to push. And that's the only thing that saved us from getting our fucking dicks kicked in while we were sleeping.
5th time.
For a 5th time.
Yeah. No, dude, it was fun though. It was fun.
I had a blast.
What's the standard weight that they give you for a BB bag? Like,
Two
is it like a
5.
3-2?
They had
Or-
2 5s,
3-8s,
3
3-2s,
2s, and I think they had some 4s too, right?
Fours. They had a lot of
So it's just
fours.
kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of whatever they come out with, you know. Worst case scenario, you readjust your hop up and you go with it.
It is
Do
kind of
the
nice to
bolt
know that
action
like,
guns get any special?
there
like,
are only 2 snipers around in the entire game. There's one
Okay.
sniper team per faction, so there are not snipers.
yeah, and
Um,
they probably have
and
their own specialty.
Well, and those guys are usually from what I understand, they actually have to pull actual
Recon.
like
They're not
reconnaissance.
shooting people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not
like
shooting people.
no,
No.
they're calling out shit.
Yeah.
I do want to take a point and just kind of give props to the cadre staff. Like all of them, both teams were fucking incredible. The Russian guys,
yeah.
like, fuck it, dude, those guys had their shit together and they like knew how to motivate. And like I said, the cinematic aspect of it, like all those fucking Russian fucks on that push on Saturday night, just like the sun setting behind them, and then there's just like a fucking shitload of them, and they start chanting and fucking screaming, and then it gets louder and meaner and angrier as they get closer, and you're like, God damn, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, fuck,
No,
Jesus, this is
the
fun.
staff is phenomenal, man. Getting to meet those guys, hang out with those guys, everybody's super professional, super chill. You know, nobody's a dick. Like it was cool, super welcoming to me. You know, being my first time, everybody was super cool.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So the plan is to do a lot more.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I desperately want to do one of these with Aaron and Eric. I'm looking at you, Gun Gamers, and Ian, and Derek. I want to do a fucking full platoon of just like the homies.
That'd be cool.
I'm
That'd be sick.
like now going to be actively building out like not a piece together hodgepodge. Like I'm
Yeah.
Should we talk kit since we talked about?
Yeah, we got a couple more minutes left, and that's another thing to consider. Like MSW is definitely not like a game you can just jump into. It takes prep, more prep than I've ever put into airsoft, and you guys know how crappy I am when it comes to prepping. And did Cole just disappear?
goodbye, Cole.
Bye, Cole. It's good seeing you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, I hit the wrong thing.
And he's back.
LOL, JK.
Yeah, we definitely need to do a full homie platoon. So things to consider. You do need, depending on the time of year, cold weather gear. You need to have a rucksack. You need to have a sleep system. You have to be able to carry food. Are you cooking that food or is it cold? Like these are things you have to think about. There's a really, really good packing list that will get you prepared. And the first thing you'll realize once you start going through it is that you're about to spend some money. I didn't spend as much as Cole, but I got up there really, really, really quick. Honestly, not to sound like a douche or anything, but I spent probably about $1,000 on gear getting ready to go to this one.
I mean, that was my next question is like, how much, like if somebody's going to jump into this, like me for the first time, like, what do you expect to spend?
Now, so Cole and I both got bags because we'll use them. We got really nice bags. I got a Burlestock or something like that. I can't even say it right. And he had a Mystery Ranch. They're both really good brands. You could go to a surplus store and probably get an old Alice or a Molly for what, maybe $100, maybe cheaper.
One thing that like the old heads, the cadre were using. They were using like old Alice gear and old
Legitimate.
Yeah, some
like,
were. So, I mean, it was like 50-50. Some people had the bouge and some people had like, old school stuff. You could go to a surplus store and get fitted out for probably $500, probably half of what we spent. You're going to be using used stuff, old stuff. It may not be as comfortable like Alice. Alice gear sucks.
It's not.
It does.
When I did my Milsim West experience, it was all old school shit.
Yeah. So like tech has come a long way, especially when it comes to comfort and hiking and stuff like that. So like a good tactical bag now is probably better than what the Army's issuing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So we got good stuff. I got a military sleep system, which those are kind of pricey. You had a outdoor research that you talked about, which
so I reached out and talked to buddies of mine that have been to these. I talked to Derek, I talked to Ian, I talked to Josh a little bit. I talked to people who've been to these, and they gave me a couple pro tips, as they would call it. Like as far as water goes, take a big jug instead of a case of water for your personal water. Get an Nalgene, fill it up. Even though I lost it on day one and didn't find it again until Sunday. I went with the Outdoor Research Bivy, a thermopad, sleep pad, and a sleeping bag. And any normal situation, it would have been perfect. I just needed a little bit heftier on the sleeping bag, and I'd have been Gucci.
Yeah. And I mean, after going, there was things I brought that I didn't need. There's things I didn't bring that I did need. I'll say this: bring snacks. That's where I really biffed it up. I brought food that had to be cooked, but I didn't bring. We had to, like, Cole and I were splitting one bag of gummy worms that lasted about a day and a half, like eating like half a worm at a time, trying to survive. But snacks, keeping your sugar and all that stuff going so you have energy. That's a big deal, because I kind of started tanking towards the end of that second day, just because, you know, I couldn't get the amount of calories that I needed for what we were burning. But like a cook system, a sleep system, a ruck, and your uniforms and whatever else you want for like creature comforts, like when you're out in the field. It can get pricey really quick, but like I said, you could probably get into it for 500, maybe even less. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's very doable.
It's just, how comfortable do you want to be? How durable do you want your stuff to be? How reliable do you want your stuff to be? You know, it's all on you what you want to spend. But I think for it being our first game, I think we did pretty good. Like,
nice.
There was no failures in equipment by any means, and I wouldn't say we were comfortable, because it got way colder than anybody expected. But
cold as fuck. Yeah.
But we survived.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, there's, like I said, there's odds and ends. Like there's little things like a camping towel. I didn't need that. The stool. So there's a couple pro moves though I want to talk about. One, the water jugs. Big water jug that can be strapped or lashed or whatever you want to call it. Infinitely better than trying to carry a whole case or doing anything that way. Or bladders. I saw a lot of guy with bladders, and I just didn't think that was a good move. Especially when I got fuck off cold and them shits froze.
Mm-hmm.
The gators, holy fucking shit. I do not have a good enough things to say about these snake gators that I got. I didn't get them for snakes. I got them to spray permethrin on and keep ticks off of me. And at one point I saw literally 10, 15 ticks on my fucking boots at one time when I looked down on Sunday, and they would get up to those fucking gators and they would just like fall off.
Yeah. They weren't bad until Sunday.
Yeah. An unexpected benefit though was that those gators protected me from the thorns, because they go like just below the knee. So I could run through these
shin guards.
I could run through these fucking briar patches and not feel shit and not get my legs torn up. So that was phenomenal. And then a camping stool, super convenient to have. I use that thing a lot. It was great. Jet boils are kick ass. I didn't know that those Mountain Man meals were that fucking good. There's some tasty shits. And there's some hefty shits after the fact. I was shitting my brains all like,
terrible
day. Yeah. But no, somebody else brought up a good point. If you have friends with hiking gear,
pick their brain.
Yeah, you can go that route. The only issue is, and I don't know, maybe this is just my opinion. People that brought more hikey type gear over like military style gear, it kind of like dials back like the whole aesthetic that they're going for. And that's even mentioned.
Half the fun is like getting, as was it Josh put up, wearing my wonderful costumes.
Yes.
Yep. Fabulous costumes.
My fabulous costumes. Yeah. His little speech. Good. But yeah, no, like there were people out there with like baby blue sleeping bags, you know, like cool, hopefully it works for you and it keeps you warm, but it does kind of takes you out of it a little bit. Yes, the Mountain House meals, Cole and I both rocked those. They were amazing.
Yeah. If it wasn't for all the sodium, I'd eat those like every day.
Yeah, but sodium is good when you're in the field.
It was great. I'd never felt like hungry. I always had food to eat. I always had stuff I needed. But snacks were the one thing that like I will definitely be bringing more of next time. And
Ben, you bring up another good point. You can spend more money on things like a jet boil. Like Cole had a jet boil and I had a $15 Amazon special miniature stove, and they both worked. The only difference is his boils in about, 50 seconds, and mine took probably 4 or 5 minutes. So I mean, it's $15 versus probably 150. I think I've seen jet boils up to about 180, $200. I will be getting a jet boil after watching Cole get done with his stuff way before me, but you can save money. There's a million ways to save money.
Startling. It was like, cause it's the one with like the ridge vent, the vented shit on the bottom of the cup. So it was like
Oh, it was insane. It was
Yeah.
literally less than a minute, and mine was honestly probably about 4 minutes most of the time if I had it
Yeah.
at full power.
And you can pack like if you get the small gas tanks too, everything fits inside of it too. It's fucking
Oh.
dope.
Yeah.
And then-
So that Amazon special I bought was $20. It comes with a bowl, a pot, and everything. Like literally one of the canisters, the miniature stove, all the silverware, a sponge to clean it, and like a stirring like wooden spoon to like mix stuff up with. And it was super light. It was actually like, I'm impressed with it for $20. Like you can't beat it.
But the guns, you were running your Fatco.
Yes. Which for like the 100th event ran flawlessly.
I'm ordering a new Fatco. I'm hanging my systems up on the wall rather than just throwing them into a fucking blender because I'm so goddamn tired of my mags not feeding. I'm so fucking tired of it, and they're so outdated and hard to get fucking parts for and hard to get magazines for, and none of the magazines ever fucking feed. I've got 2 of the goddamn things. I've got 20 magazines, and 2 of them fucking shits actually work.
And when you're only doing
shoot, but
when you're only doing 4 engagements the entire game, like you want your shit to work. So.
I'm just so fucking tired. So I've got brand new magazines that are like tailor-made basically to fit in my MCX, and they will fit flawlessly in the new Fatco Customs Zero build that I'm getting. That is one of his BCM VFC GATs that I just ordered.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have my new primers are gonna be 2 Fatcos outside of the sniper rifle. And I'm going to hang the stems up on the wall and just let them fucking collect dust there for the end of time.
Yeah, I'm going to get another Fatco as a backup, I think. But the one that I've been running it as my primary, I think, for 2 years now. And it's never... I broke the hop up where the BBs feed up into the nozzle, and then Ryan fixed it on the spot, and I've never had an issue
You
with
better clean that barrel or he's going to fucking smack both.
I know, dude. He yells at me at every event.
So mad.
Hey! Did you clean that barrel?
Dude, no, you fucking joke. He
dude, yeah.
He's hostile.
Yep. He'll show you the rag. He'll show you all the nastiness on it.
Oh, he'll do it right in front of you too. Like,
yeah.
So
but all in all, if I had to give it a numerical score, 10 out of 10, easy. Yeah. And what's funny is like the fact that it sucks makes it fun. You know, getting beat is fun. If you were to go out there and roll people, it was fun. The fact that people quit makes it cool. You know, it's just, it is challenging. Now, you know, if you're in the military, no, it's not going to be like challenging because you do these FTXs all the time. But if all you've ever done is like basic airsoft and you're not hiking or camper and you've never rucked, you know, a mile or 2 a day, it's going to challenge you. It really will. Because, I mean, it's really long days. It's really long nights. It's run just like the military runs their FTXs. It's a blast.
Batches are cool too, and you don't get them until the end of the event. You have to complete
you have to finish the event to get your batch, which is
dope.
Awesome.
It's a fucking dope ass little, like I like the old school. It's just a subdued, easy fucking cloth patch that looks like some OG shit. The Russians got a cool one too. I like it. It's dope.
Yeah, but
feel like
I still have mine too.
Yeah, nope. 10 out of 10. I'd recommend it. Go do it. It's worth the money, worth the pain. It's a good time. Everybody there was cool. It was the most chill event. I don't think I heard one person yelling about hits at all. I don't think I heard one. Did you? Yeah.
No, I do want to talk about. So I mentioned that we were going to talk about a little bit about the squads. So fun fact: Baby Rental Squad made it the entire fucking way through.
Yeah.
Nice.
Every single one of them little motherfuckers. The dad was cool as shit. He and his kid had a great time, which made me really happy to see. I was very invested in making sure that people were having a good time in the platoon. But the rental kids, man, they trudged through, and this is just speaks to like, you know, 2-1 obviously was killing it the whole time, and they were very well kitted out, and they were doing a great job. And they all made it through as we would expect. The medium hard kids, not so much. Only 2 of them survived, but they were cool fucking kids, and I'm glad they made it through, and I'm glad they seemed to have a really good time. They were good dudes. It's just unfortunate that, you know, some shit.
Yeah, they got to make fun of their friends for quitting.
Yeah, exactly. And then fucking dude, 2-3, man. The rental kids, like they literally, like if somebody took a snapshot of that South Park episode, like that's how they were kitted out, and they fucking.
I still need to see that.
They powered the fuck through, man. I was so.
Yeah, no, they did great. The dad's prior military did a real good job.
Good dude, yeah.
But chest rig or plate carrier, both. Cole ran chest rig, I ran plate carrier. I got made fun of because I was like one of I don't know. It's probably like 80% chest rigs, 20% plate carriers. Most of the new people were running plate carriers, but I knew I wasn't going to quit. I was there as cadre, so I just made it suck a little bit more.
I use the LBX lock and load chest rig, and I will personally vouch for now the second or third product from LBX that I'll actually endorse.
Yeah, I'll be running a chest rig from now on, though, for sure, 100%. Because trying to run to put on a ruck with a Haley flat pack on the back of a plate carrier is impossible.
Hey, who the fuck is KWA Tactical League, and why do they keep sending me messages?
Yeah, they keep tagging me.
Why do you keep tagging me and shit? Who are you people?
Are you inviting us to play?
I don't know.
That's Biohazard.
Is that who that is? Okay, cool. Because like I just it says KWA on it. It says Tactical League, and I keep getting tagged in stories and shit. And who are you? What do you?
Who are you?
I want to play.
Good segue, because that's going to be one of the interviews that we have coming up.
Okay, beautiful. I will accept it. Yeah, no, just like I get that they're doing something. It's one of those weird things where I'm like, did I miss something here? Because I don't know what this is. Like, it looks cool. Like, it looks neat. It's the Tactical League. I've heard things about it. I just don't know what the fuck it is.
I will say their videos look super professional.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
that always
like,
catches my eye when it comes to like production quality. You know, they're putting effort into it. So
yeah.
Shout out to Tactical League.
Yep.
Well, fucking okay.
But
I guess
that being said, yes, I think a homie squad needs to happen, or a homie platoon needs to happen. And I was talking to the guys before the show that I'm going to be buying a ruck, and I'm going to have to get some of those sweet UF Pro multicams.
I
You'll
went
be
to the
happy.
surplus store and I got surplus fucking pants and surplus fucking top, and it actually added to the aesthetic because it looked worn and fucked up, and played in, and I loved it.
The one time when I played, I think I was wearing Cry G3 bottoms because they're just super pajama pant comfortable, and just a random M81 Woodland, and then I had this like really janky put together like load bearing belt. And like no plate carry, no chest rig. It was just all on my hips. It was very comfortable. I think that might be the route I want to stick with. Is the
nice.
Vice News wasn't there, but they did have a professional photographer from or journalist from Germany.
I don't know if he was a journalist or if he was just there for photographs, but he was like, I heard him saying he was going to El Salvador next. The dude travels all over the world. So I don't know what he's doing.
I heard one of the cadre were saying he's a legit war correspondent. Like, he's been in Iraq, Afghanistan, like some fucking places in Africa. Like, he's been and photographed like some real shit. Because Josh was making a crack like the first day I got there. He's like, "Is this what you're wearing?" He's like, "I mean, this is what I wore," and I can't remember what country he mentioned, but I remember just being like, "Oh fuck, that's a shit."
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh fucking damn."
Okay, so this will not be that bad for him. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, Aaron, I get it, baby. Faded. We all love you. We all love your Ahi cam, but for the love of fucking God, just go buy some multicam pants and experience this game. Like, you don't need to meme. You can meme in multiple other ways, and I guarantee you'll have a good time.
No, it wasn't a pyro fest because there was a burn ban.
Yep. So no pyro except
there was a couple grenades allowed on the gravel for the final assault, and that was it.
Yeah, just
makes sense.
And EG67s, because they couldn't allow any smoke at all, and then they
no smoke.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, even then. I'm only rock out here.
Yeah, and I think lately with the last couple of years of MSW events, the track record of catching set on fire is not looking good.
Every event, they tried to burn me alive at fucking Southern Front at D14. They threw so many grenades at me, and then the grass caught fire around me because I was behind hard cover, and they kept being like, "You're dead." I'm like, "No, I've got a giant fucking portable water tank in between me and that grenade." But thanks for setting everything around me on fire, you dicks.
Yeah, but anyway. Long story short, the MSW event was great, and we're going to do more, like a lot more. It was cool. It was fantastic. I'm a little bit more into that than what we typically do, I think.
Yep. I was really tempted when I was ordering that Fatco BCM. I was really tempted to see if he could get me an AK. But then I got to buy a whole nother fucking set of magazines for that bullshit too. So
and another set of camo and.
No, I mean you can go militia.
I'm gonna buy because this is what Brad Haig was at the event, and he's a local guy. I guess he works for Evac now. Decent amount of people know who he is. Good dude. But he bought a stock LCT and did like some basic fucking upgrades to it, and it slapped. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy like a nice, good base AK, some mags, and that will be like my. Because you don't need like a super high end gun for these games. Like you will have a good time regardless.
Right. You just need something that works.
If your goddamn magazines feed, you will have a good fucking time. I could have done fucking work with a goddamn G&G combat machine during that fucking push, and I honestly probably would have been happier. Cass says, let's do a bigger TS. Dude, exactly. Let's do a homie platoon. Let's do an ASAP platoon. Let's do fucking the homeboys, gun gamers, fucking ASAP, fucking Derek, get Ben's goofy ass in there too. Let's get some Pikachu up in here. Let's fucking do it. Let's
forgot about that.
Go.
Let's burn this motherfucker down. With that, we're actually over the time here a little bit. Do you guys got anything else you want to talk about? I saw Batman liked it.
Batman was dope.
Oh, Corey's giving it a straight like 7 out of 10.
You know, I watched the recent.
No, dude,
Joker.
I'm about to go watch it for the 3rd time tomorrow, and every time I watch it, I hate it more.
Why are you watching it for a 3rd time tomorrow then?
My kid wanted to see it, and she wants to see it again.
Ben's asking about Jin. Jin actually just dropped a new video on the DFE game that Corey.
Yeah, like literally just now, the DFE game that we went to. Another really fun game. DFE is another fun event.
Watch it.
Host.
She's a cool chick and she's doing cool shit, and we all really like her.
Yeah, she runs hard.
And
all there is to it.
she looks better in my gear than anyone else does. So,
I mean, a lot of that's the photographer, but I mean, whatever.
yeah. I mean, you're close second.
Hey, listen, I took a picture of Corey that he actually used in his
Dude,
wow.
That's off to
impressive.
Cole.
No,
He's a
you
trash
guys-
photographer, and he pulled one off.
I'm awful. Every time
he
I hand
pulled
him
me
it,
off
he's like,
so good.
He's like, take some pictures of me. I'm like, okay, motherfucker. I don't know if you want me to do this
No.
shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of photographers, they had several there. You've got is it Brian? Is he Josh's business partner? I know it's
Yes.
Pringles.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Brian.
Brian Clarkson.
So Brian was taking some great. I think he got some really great shots. David Lee's out there, killing it as always with his camera work. The kid took some really cool low light shots that he wouldn't shut the fuck up about, but he was right. They look fucking phenomenal. So kudos as always to him. And then the German photographer who I don't know, but I'm very curious to see what he was doing there. Maybe I can get some clarification for that on Josh. But
You guys will have to, if you can, if there's like any photos from this game and you guys find it, like shoot them to me. I want to see.
yeah.
Besides the ones that you guys took. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I got some photos. There should be a ton of photos of the event, and I'm dropping a video. It'll probably be the first airsoft video I put on my YouTube because I think I finally got enough footage of a game to do it.
Nice.
And I just wanted to talk about like my experience, kind of like we just did, but a little bit more in depth. So with video.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But that was it. Anybody got anything else?
I'm
That's
good.
all.
No takers. Punk, honey. You got anything new
Yes.
dropping? I need one of those windbreakers.
I
Just
got
on your website?
windbreakers.
What you're wearing looks slightly different from the one that I have.
Is there red in that?
There is red in it.
Red. There is red.
Oh, you dirty fuck.
You should see the back.
Are you going to show it, or is
Show
that
me
a secret?
Turn around.
I mean,
Let me
if
see that shit.
hold on.
Let me say shit. We don't talk about Siege, Ben. Show me that shit. Do you want to field that question, Mr. Director?
Okay, Siege isn't sound. That's where it's at. The final cut's done. It's totally done. It's just sound. That's it. And I can't do sound because I'm an idiot. So it's just waiting on sound. And as soon as that's done, it's done.
On to the
Whenever it gets done. That's where it's at.
Oh, speaking of on to the next, what is our next event?
Iron Horse.
So if you
When
go to
is
Iron
Iron
Horse,
When
come find
is
us.
that?
April 9th, something like that.
I don't know. All I know is I need to buy a fucking plane ticket.
April 9th. I was like, that's like 3 weeks away, my guy.
Yeah,
Dude, we have been
I ain't
going-
making that.
We have been going hard lately.
Yeah, my body hates me. My wife wants to divorce me. The baby doesn't know me anymore. It's just I'm gone.
The baby looks at you and is like, "Are you my dad?"
Yeah. No, he's
I'm
actually
not your dad. I'm a professional airsofter. Okay,
was
kid,
fucking
get fucked.
sailing one weekend and then airsoft and then airsoft again.
Yeah.
All right, we're rambling.
Let's cut it off.
Fucking later, nerds.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.